All right, guys, how's it going? I'm gonna set up this mentoring session for me and Andrea real quick, and then I'll send her the link so we can get started. So let me just get this one over here. Just 1 second. Just link out to Andrea real quick. There we go. All right, let me get this link out to you guys over here. All right, here we go. All right, cool. I'm just waiting for Andrea to show up, and then we'll get started with the session. Looking for some possible scalps here, guys. If you guys are sitting in on this session, this is using the new Asia strategy that I've been using with Josh. So I'll see if something comes up here. If not, then we'll keep looking for another trade. It's still kind of early. It's only 4 o'clock. So volatility is still really, really slow right now. Actually, let me check this real quick. I know, actually go back here. It's 4 o'clock. So I know Kyle likes to trade the JPN. Not really much going on there. Yeah, volatility is really low on this. So I'll follow it. I'll see how it plays out. But still waiting for Andre to show up. And then we're going to nice. You guys are in the chat. You guys saw Jeff. His son was just born this morning. So he's talking to me right now about messaging Jeff right now. All right, cool. Just waiting for Andrea to show up real quick, guys. When she shows up, then we can get started. I'm still looking at this over here for a possible entry for this new strategy that I've been testing out. If I see anything, I'll let you guys know so you guys can hop in. But I think for the most part, we're probably not going to be hopping into anything too risky right now. Oh, there she goes. Hey, Andrea, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Shawn. Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm not gonna complain.
Good to hear. Did you trade with us this morning, or you been at work?
Yes, I was at work, but I did trade with you guys this morning,
Nice.
and I got kicked out that last US 30 trade.
Oh no,
The
stop loss
daily, I
close.
think it was the daily.
Oh, were you in that? Yeah. The daily, yeah, right here. I think a lot. Well, whoever took it, I think they got out like halfway over here at like 750, and then it just had
Hmm.
that crazy drop right there. Yeah, because it did hit TP1. If you had TP1 halfway, right there. But as soon as that hit, it came crashing right back down.
Hmm.
It was like a random news event that came out. I don't know if you were following it. Biden released his plan to tax the wealthy, basically increase capital gains, and by doing that, a lot of people sold off on their stocks because they didn't want to get hit with that, or they started to get scared because if your capital gains tax goes up, that's pretty much the tax that you pay off stocks and like certain other investments. So
Uh-huh.
that had an adverse effect on US 30, but I'm not sure if that's really going to hold up. It's just that it was just, whenever he releases news like that, it just scares people and people act
Yeah.
on it. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I didn't take this trade. I was just doing the scalp, so I didn't even like catch any of these over here. I honestly just,
Yeah, I had missed some of the scalps, and that's the only because I hadn't been taking the daily, but that's the only reason why I took it. And then I set it, set the TP and stop loss. And I
yeah.
had to get back to work. So
Oh no, I feel
I didn't
bad.
even keep an eye on it. Yeah, and then I don't have like a huge account, so I just take it to the full TP.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel you. Yeah, no, that would be the smart decision to do. Is just if the news didn't happen today, I think this probably would have kept going up. It was just that random news event came up randomly. I didn't even expect this to drop this much because this dropped. Let's see how many pips it dropped from. It dropped like 4,000 pips. That's a big drop.
Yeah.
Within like about an hour. So that's
Hmm.
it. It was something that people couldn't really predict what happened. But I didn't even know Biden was talking today. It just we got that random alert that said that he was releasing his plans for the new tax stuff, and it is what it is. Really, that's all I have
Yeah.
to say.
Me either, man. I just happened to take my phone out, and I took it out and I looked and my shit was lit up red. I was like, oh my God, what is going
Oh
on?
no, oh no, man, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. That's why I usually, how I am. Like once it hits like 10, I stop trading. That's usually when the market starts. Actually, if you look right here, this drop happened at exactly at 10.
Uh-huh. That's what
So
made me pull it out because I know you say that
it starts
it
to reverse at
normally
10.
reverse at 10. Yeah. So that's 1 o'clock my time. And I was
Oh
on a
yeah.
break. And so I had pulled it out. It was like when I checked, I was probably like maybe 10 or 15 minutes after one my
Hmm.
time. So it had already got well into.
Oh, they were the past break even right here, right? When
Yeah.
the negative, yeah. Unfortunately, that dropped really quick. Yeah, like what we normally look at right here is the morning session when it opens, it just pushes up, and then once it reaches 10, it usually ends up reversing right there. I'm gonna try to figure out a strategy that we can apply for this right here, so that we can catch it as it reverses for the people that do want to take that risk after 10.
Uh-huh.
Me personally, I'm probably not going to mess with it because I make enough profit during the early session, so I don't want to risk it and throw away all my profit trying to catch a couple more profits towards the end of the session.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
traded yesterday and I kept looking for the reversal at 10 o'clock your time.
Oh,
And
that
it
yeah,
just kept going up yesterday.
yeah, that thing it took a long time. Like I have it right here. Actually, I was following it because that daily entry actually came like at 1 o'clock my time, so I was about 3 o'clock your time actually. Like right here,
Uh-huh.
6:30, and then at 10, it just started. It kept going up, but then it started going sideways. So like
Yeah.
around 10 right here, if I turn this on, the daily entry actually came up like way after, like right here, because you can see
Uh-huh.
this is when market opened, and then the first signal came right here. So if you did take that daily entry yesterday, that I mean, you would have held on to it for like a good 24 hours, but it eventually would have hit.
What a hit.
Yeah, because right there you can see it just went sideways for a long time, and then
Hmm.
it finally dropped. I don't
Right.
like taking trades like that though. Like holding it into the next session I just find it to be risky because you don't know what's
Yeah,
gonna
I
happen.
don't like it either because I don't like just sitting there, keep watching it and watching the drawdown. I like to get in there, get it, and get out.
Exactly, and that's why I've been more focused with scalps lately. Also, because the market right now it's a little different. The market's not always going to be the same, and you kind of just have to evolve with it. Like last year, we did a lot of the intraday trades, our forex trades, and they all hit like pretty nice. especially with these daily entries. But lately, the market's just kind of been going back and forth. So, we've been focusing more on scalps because that's really where the money is right now.
Yeah,
Especially
I
for
have
the
noticed the
USD.
difference too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just how the market is. You can't just get stuck on one strategy and think it's going to work like forever. Like the strategy still does work. The ones we were using previously, like the daily entry still does work. It's a little more riskier because the price isn't really moving how it was before when Trump was president. Because he would say something and it shoots it up, and he says something else and it shoots it down. So it's easy for us to catch moves that way. But now the market's been a lot slower, which it's all right. We can still make money that way. We just got to figure out a way to pull profits from the market.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, yeah. So what do you want to cover today? I just want to see what we're focusing to be.
okay, so I'm ready to, well, I'm not ready right now, but I'm getting ready for the the FTMO.
FTMO, nice.
Yep, FTMO. I want to start preparing myself for that. So what I'm going to be doing before I even do the challenge is just because I never trade out of a demo account, Shawn. Never.
Yeah.
I heard you say that this morning. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only person that never does that.
Yeah,
So
because the thing is, when you trade on the demo, your emotions aren't really involved, because you don't really have money on the line, so you're kind of like whatever about it. But if
yeah,
you have like even pennies, if you got pennies, dollars, $100, it doesn't matter. You're still gonna feel it, even though you're losing or winning, even if
yeah.
it's a little amount. So that's a smart way to do it. Just what I recommend is just don't risk too much.
I've never placed a trade in a demo account. I have one and it's still sitting at whatever I set it at. Like when I first started, I just jumped straight in, a live account.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what I want to do, I do have a couple of questions about that, about the
Mhm.
FTMO. And so that demo account that I have, I'm about to start trading out of it
Mhm.
to prepare myself for the challenge, just to see how it goes. Because the challenge, you have to pay for it, right?
You could do a trial challenge. You should probably try out the trial challenge so that you will have to follow the requirements. So that might be a better option for you to make sure that you don't you fall within the daily loss rate limits and the max loss limits. So you can do a challenge account on trial where you don't have to pay nothing, and you get to basically test out a challenge before you actually do it.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know about that. That's why I had said in a demo account. So it's a trial challenge.
Yeah, you can do that, and then you'll pretty much have all the same requirements. So when you pass the trial a couple times, you'll be like, all right, then you'll be comfortable with doing the real thing. Because the thing is, when a lot of people do FTMO, they kind of don't understand the requirements, like the daily loss limit. There's a lot of times where people don't understand that, and they end up losing their challenge because it was a small little mistake that they did, where they over leveraged and they kind of went too far in the negative. So I think you should probably practice with that trial first, get the hang of it, and then once you're ready, then do the actual challenge.
Okay. When people are like when they preparing for you know, to get the real account, like when they're doing their challenge, like do you recommend that they just strictly focus on that account, so you can get the optimal entries with getting them in there? And I also would like for you to explain to me how I know it's a price difference. I hear you talking about it in the morning when you're giving a TP and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I would focus if your main goal is to pass FTMO and you don't really care about the quick profits on your smaller account, then yeah, you should just put your main focus on FTMO so that once you get comfortable with it, then you can go straight into it, the challenge, and you'll be good to go as soon as you take that challenge. And I'll show you the price difference. So I'll pull up right here's the price for TradingView, and then I'll pull up the price for FTMO. Let's see, I got the FTMO over here. Let's get this.
And I'm still waiting to hear back from Hugo's way about that big price difference on my MT4.
For you, what was there a price difference?
Yeah, remember I had took some screenshots and showed it to you one day last week, I think.
Oh yeah,
Where
yeah,
it's like a huge price. It's like 29 points or something.
yeah. 29, yeah, 29 points would be equivalent to 290 pips. So that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was with you said it was with Hugo's way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even really trade. Well, I still trade Hugo's way, but I mirror my trades off my FTMO, so I don't really know what's going on with Hugo's way. It's just an account that copies my trades for FTMO onto my personal. So I'm not really sure about the price difference because I don't really look at that at all. I'm more focused on FTMO.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if, honestly, I don't even know if they'll even reach out to you because them being an unregulated broker, it's not really. I mean, it is their problem, but it isn't really the problem
Right.
because they can kind of just ignore you, and they don't have to do anything really.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why I don't really recommend unregulated brokers. But I do understand the risk using them. That's the reason why I still use them. But if something like that was to happen to me, I would have just taken the L off and just I would have just ate that loss. But I mean, yeah, hopefully they get back to you because that is a problem, obviously.
Hmm.
But here, let me pull up the FTMO right here. So this is the price for FTMO. Basically, in order to get the difference, you just want to subtract the uh, the trading view price by the FTMO price because the trading view price is usually a little higher. So like, actually, let me refresh this. I don't think this is even the right price. It looks super off. All right, let me log back into my FTMO.
Okay. And so when I get the FTMO, I just sign up for it and then just log it into my MT4 like you do any other account.
Yep, exactly. Same thing. Pretty much,
Okay.
you just log into it, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's just going to be an account under the FTMO server, but it's the same thing exactly.
Okay.
All right, let me see this real quick. Let's move this over here. All right, so let me just pull up US 30. All right, so this is the price for US 30 right here. Basically, the way to get the difference is you just want to subtract one of the prices from TradingView, which would be this over here. I would just subtract the buy price, the blue price. Well, basically the second number. So for that, you're just going to put in 33845 and you subtract it by the FTMO price right here. I usually just leave out the decimals. I just use these first 5 numbers right here. So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
do 33838. And then you can see that the difference is just 7 pips. It's not a big deal. It's
Okay, cool.
or 7 points, which is equivalent to I guess 70 pips, which is not really it's not really that much. If you think about it, it's not really too much. So that's pretty much how you would subtract the difference. So say for example here, you were going to enter, like obviously I'm not going to enter right now, but if you were to enter like a short position right there, and then say you wanted to calculate that, like say your TP was 33,757. If you wanted to match the price to your FTMO, you would just subtract that by 7. So
Right.
you just put in 33757 minus 7, and there's your FTMO TP
750.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, it's not that difficult. I mean, it's kind of tedious. Like it gets a little confusing, but once you do it a couple times, it's the same process every time. Like the main thing is you're gonna subtract the number from TradingView to FTMO.
Okay.
And then,
Just a little simple math.
Yeah, exactly. So the main thing is just getting that number. Once you get that number, you can just do simple math. You can just check your price there and then subtract it by 7. You just drop the 7
And
there.
subtract it from your take profit.
Exactly. Yeah. And then
What about your stop loss? You subtract it from your stop loss too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Same thing because the FTMO price is lower than the TradingView price. So you're just going to subtract it by both.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something that you should probably practice on your trial too, just to get the hang of things, because you don't want to be in the real thing and then you'll be jumbling between like prices and not knowing what to do. So
right.
So I think you should be good. It's just going to come with practice.
All right. So now, since the markets have kind of changed a little bit, I know that we're using a lot of these newer strategies that you have on the lower time frames.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had a session, it's been a while back, it was before my dad passed, and I took that notebook with me and I have no idea where it is. So I wanted to like cover some of the strategies so I can have that, when I go into this challenge.
Of course, yeah, no, definitely, yeah. So the main strategies that we're applying right now are, well, it's between three strategies. So basically, it's the 10-minute snipe strategy that we've been applying lately. That's gonna be one of them. The second one is gonna be the 3-minute pivot strategy, and I'll go over that too. I'll go over all of them. I'm just gonna go over an overview. So like the 10-minute, the 3-minute, and then the 1-minute, which we've been applying lately, because the market has just been kind of slow. When the market's slow, it's hard to find entries off the 10-minute and the 3-minute. So instead of just waiting for something to happen, we just go on the 1-minute and we take smaller entries. It's pretty much the same strategy. It's exactly the same as a 3-minute, but we're just doing it on the 1-minute. It's not really a big difference. It's just the TP stop losses are going to be a little bit tighter because the movement's not going to be as much, but it's literally the same strategy that we're applying on both ends.
Okay, so on the 1-minute, you taking off pivots 1 and 2.
Same, yeah. So for the 3-minute and the 1-minute, we're taking off the pivots. For the 10-minute, we're applying the snipe strategy, which is different. The 3-minute and 1-minute are the same strategy. They're just different TP stop loss. But the 10-minute is going to be the snipe strategy.
Okay.
So I'll put the requirements here. We'll go over them right now. So we'll start off with the 10-minute. This is going to be the K² snipe strategy, 10-minute time frame. So first, you want to confirm a wick rejection off K² pivot, which can be any pivot. 2, you want to confirm a wick rejection off K² SR zone. And then lastly, well, not lastly, but confirm wick rejection off K² pivot does not touch candle body. And this is the last requirement that we finalize the strategy with. You want to confirm direction of momentum using K² momentum indicator. And that's pretty much it. After that, you can enter on open of the following candle. And then your TP stop loss is going to be 500 pips. And this is for the 10-minute. And I'll put the other requirement there too. TP stop loss fixed 500 pips. So basically, first you want to find a zone. So like I'll show you an example of how that works. Let's see if we can find it over here. All right, so I don't really see any entries over here. I don't think we had any today off the 10-minute, but I'll see if I could find something here for an example. All right, so we actually have one right over here. I'll just rewind, or I'll draw this. Actually, no, we don't have an entry here. Let me see if I can find one for you. Find one over here. I know we had a couple yesterday, so let me see if I can find anything over here. Okay, perfect. So we have one over here. So we got one like right here.
And 500 is the sweet spot for this, just on US 30 only with this 10-minute snipe.
Yep, for this specific strategy here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just rewind it to this area over here. All right, so looking at this right here, I'll just show you an example of how the strategy would work. First, you want to confirm a wick rejection off the K² pivot for this green candle right here. It's rejecting off this blue and green pivot right there, right above it. So that's going to be requirement number 1. Requirement number 2, you want to confirm the wick rejection off the K² SR zone. So we drew the zone here previously, and this is going to be the zone where the rejection's happening. So
you drew that on the 10-minute, right?
Yep, everything's done on the 10-minute for this strategy.
Okay.
So for this one right here, we have the wick rejection off the pivot. We have the wick rejection off the SR zone. And then lastly, you just want to make sure that the pivot isn't touching the candle body. So the pivot's way up here, the candle body's down here. So that's going to qualify for requirement number 3. So with that said, you just want to confirm the direction of momentum. Right here, we got a sell signal, so we're only looking for sells. And with that said, we got all the requirements fit. So we have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the K² SR, the pivot isn't touching the body, and we got a sell momentum here. So all 4 requirements are met. Next, you can enter on the open of the falling candle, which would be right here. You would enter 50-50 for the TP stop loss, which is 500 pips. 50 points is going to be equivalent to 500 pips because these are measured in points.
Right.
Yeah, so with that said, that's pretty much it. Once you take that trade right there, you let it run, and there you go, full TP.
Cool.
And let me see if there's another entry here. Maybe there's another one right here. No. Okay, I was wondering if this was going to be an entry right here, but there just hasn't been too many entries here off the 10-minute because price has just been going sideways for the most part.
Right.
But if you do see one, this is pretty much what you're looking for. This is going to be it for a sell. And let me see if there's another one here, maybe for a buy that I can probably just show you.
And it doesn't matter which one of the pivots. It can be one or two.
Exactly. It could be any pivot. It could be red, yellow.
Because it's on a higher time frame. Is that why? And is that why we only using 3 and 4 on the lower ones?
We only use 3 and 4 on the other one because it's a totally different strategy. It's not going to be the same strategy.
Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter about the time frame. It's just that's a totally different strategy. And it's similar to the pivot strategy. I don't know if you remember it, but that strategy is a little. Do you remember the K2 pivot strategy? I think.
Yeah, I got my notebook now from when I had first got it. So yeah, I got like all of the strategies wrote in this notebook.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So the 3-minute and 1-minute strategy is basically the same strategy. It's just that we kind of took off a couple of requirements to make it simpler to enter trades. But looking at the snipe strategy right here, are you good with this, or do you want to cover another example? Let's want to make sure you're solid at this before we move forward.
Nope, I think I'm good. So rejection off any pivot, rejection off the SR zone, no pivot touching the body, and it got to be following the momentum signal, the last one that was printed.
Yeah, the most recent one.
And enter on. Yep, I got it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's pretty simple. This is probably gonna be easier for you to apply if you don't really have time to look at the charts all day. You basically just got to look for those rejections. Once you have them lined up, then you're perfectly good. Like there's another entry again right here if you want to just look at one real quick. Another one like right over here. You got the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the K2SR, pivot's not touching the body. You got a sell signal right here. You enter that for a short position, full TP right there.
That would have been like 3 opportunities to enter right there, right? 3 or 4.
Yeah. You caught on to that quick. It was that green one, that red one, and this red one right here, possibly.
What about the first green one right here beside the doji, the first green one?
This one right here?
Yep.
This one wouldn't because let me delete this. The wick isn't touching the pivot right there. It's just
okay.
Yeah, but this one next with the doji, it would qualify as an entry. So you could have entered that one right there off that doji. That still would have been a full TP. You could have entered off this green one right here. That would have been a full TP, or you could have entered off this red one right here as well. And they all would have been full TP. So, depending on what you found there, either one would have hit TP regardless.
So the wick got to be coming out of the zone. It can't just like touch the bottom of it.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it just has to touch it. It needs to touch the zone or the pivot, or the zone and the pivot, so that it can bounce off. But this green one right here is if I zoom in a little bit, it's not really touching anything. It's kind of just in the open.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, it just has to be touching the zone. So like for example, right here, this is touching the zone. So it's rejecting off the zone, but it's not rejecting off the pivot, so it wouldn't be an entry.
Right.
So you just need the wick to basically show that it's pushing off the zone because you kind of want to see that rejection where it's pushing off, and you catch the momentum as it moves in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for this. You want to keep covering some more on this, or you want to move on to the 3-minute?
We can go on to the 3-minute. I'm good.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So this is going to be a 3-minute right here. So for this one right here, this is going to be the K2 US 30 3-minute pivot strategy. So for this one right here, you just want to confirm a valid K2 momentum signal. And this one has 2 different requirements. So for 2A, you can confirm that the signal is breaking and closing past K2 pivots. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of alerts right now. K2 pivots 3 and 4, or if that doesn't qualify, you go to 2B, which you confirm the signal is above the pivots for a buy or below for a sell. And then after that, you can enter on the open of the following candle. And your TP stop loss is going to be 25.50. So this one has a negative risk to reward ratio because it has a high win rate. This one comes up a little more often, so you'll have more entries, but it's going to have a negative risk to reward because this is like something that has a really high win rate. So we usually don't lose this trade. Majority of these trades that we do take, they almost always hit. So it's kind of fine to use it as negative as long as the win rate's high enough. So looking at this right here, let me see if we find any entries here. So we got a couple entries here. So I'll go backwards and I'll show you as they appear right here. So we got one right here, this big sell signal right here. So for the first requirement, you want to confirm a valid K2 momentum signal. Right here is a sell signal. So this one right here is going to be the sell signal.
Okay.
That's going to be requirement number one. Requirement number two is you want to confirm the signal is breaking and closing past the K2 pivots 3 and 4. So for example, right here, you can see this candle is breaking through these two pivots right here, right? 3 and 4. So that's going to be requirement number two because it's breaking it and it's closing below. So for this, we have requirement number one and then requirement 2A. Since we have 2A, you don't have to go to 2B. You just skip that and you enter on the open of the falling candle.
Okay, so if it has to do both though, it's got to be breaking it and closing it. So what if it's like closed like below it, below the two pivots? Would that still can be considered breaking?
So breaking means that it's literally breaking. So like for example, the candle started up here, right? So you see how it went through the pivots? That would be breaking. And then closing below it would just be closing outside of it.
Okay, so that's what my question is. So it doesn't matter how far down it closes past the pivots, as long as it closed past the pivots, it's breaking the pivots, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like for example, yeah. So another example right here, this red one, it's like breaking and closing past it. Let me see if I can find one where it's not that obvious. Okay, like right here. So you see this red one over here? This one is breaking and closing past it too, but it's not like a huge break and close. It's just a small one. So this would have been an entry right here as well because breaking and closing. Again, right here for this green one, it's breaking and closing. It's not shooting off too far, but it's breaking and closing past it. So there's no distance requirement for it. You just got to make sure that it breaks it and it closes past it. And that's just going to be for 2A. So for this right here, we have the first requirement, valid momentum signal for a sell. Second requirement, 2A, we have the signal breaking, closing past the pivots 3 and 4. And after that, you can just skip 2B because we already got 2A. So after that, you just enter on the open of the falling candle, which would be, right there. TP stop loss would be TPB 25, stop loss would be 50. And if you let that run right there, straight to TP right there.
Okay.
And this is why we have a wide stop loss because you can see you got kind of close to it, but it didn't trigger it. It got really close, but it didn't trigger it. So that's why you kind of want that safety net for this specific entry. So this is going to be for 2A. I'll show you an example for 2B, which should be right here. So right here, same requirement. We have a valid K2 momentum buy signal right here. For 2A, if you remember, you want to make sure that's breaking and closing past the K2 pivots. Right here, it's not breaking and closing past anything. So we're going to skip 2A. We're going to move down to 2B. For 2B, you just want to confirm that the signal is above the pivots for a buy or below for a sell. Right here, we're looking for a buy and it's above the pivots. So that's going to qualify for 2B. So with that said, we got requirement number one, requirement number two, and then you can enter on the open of the falling candle. So right there, you enter a long position right here. TP is going to be 25. Stop loss is going to be 50. You let that run. And there you go, full TP. So that's pretty much it for this. You want to go over do you want to go over any more examples, or are you good with this?
Nope, I'm good with that. 3-minute strategy is basically kind of the same thing, except for you just got to make sure it's breaking the pivot.
Exactly. So for 2A, you just want to confirm that it's breaking and closing past the pivot. For 2B, it's either above or below. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple.
Confirm the signal above the pivots. Okay. Okay, so you for 2B confirm the signal above the pivots for a buy or below for the sell. You mean for the momentum signal. It's got to be above, like
Yeah, for 2B, it's either above or below. So if you're looking for a buy, it's got to be above it. If you're looking for a sell, it's got to be below it. So like for example, here we got to sell, and for over here we got to buy. So if you were to take a sell right here, yeah, this would be the opposite. This would be the sell, and then you can see that this hits TP right there as well. And then for a buy, just the opposite for like how it is right here.
Okay. All right, and then the 1 minute.
All right, let's move over to the 1 minute. So for the 1 minute, it's pretty much the same thing. I'll put the requirements here again. The only difference is the TP stop loss because it's a little faster. So for this right here, I don't know if I would really recommend this to you unless you're like really, you got to be really focused for this. You can't like take your eyes off the chart at all. Because for me, when I take this trade, I don't even set a TP stop loss. I just watch it.
Right.
And then you've seen it, right? When I do it live. Yeah, like you got to be really on point with this because it moves too fast. I usually don't put a stop loss because sometimes it'll bounce like down real quick and then it'll go straight to your TP. So sometimes I don't even put a stop loss and I'll just watch it as it bounces up and down.
Yeah, you just enter and just sit there, watch it, and manually exit out.
Exactly. So I just chart it, and then when it goes up and down, then that's when I would exit it because the price difference on MT4, it's gonna screw with your position because you got to factor in the spread. You got to factor. There's just too many factors that go into it, right? Because
and it's on a 1 minute time frame. So and you're only trying to catch what 10 pips, so it ain't even.
Exactly. And if you look at the spread right here, spread's like 30 or 40 pips. So the thing is, if you enter that and you put the wrong stop loss, you're going to get stopped out right away if it just bounces in your opposite of you too quickly. So you just want to make sure that you're watching it when you're doing this. As long as you're watching it, you're fine. It's just, the key is paying attention and actually getting in and out at the proper time.
So that everything on there is the same except for this stop loss and the take profit, right? From the 3 minute.
Exactly, 100%. Same thing.
Okay, let me okay, and then
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Like it's the same thing here. Like you just look for a valid signal. You make sure that it's either breaking and closing past the pivots or it's below or above. Right here, it's below for a sell. So you take that for a sell. TP stop loss is going to be pretty tight. It's going to be 10, 20. So when you took it, if you were to take it straight right after, it just went straight to CP right there.
You just got to be ready to exit manually.
Yeah. So as soon as it drops below it, you just as soon as this candle closes, you hit sell. As soon as it drops below it, you close it out right away because it happens so fast. Like you don't really have time to think about it.
Right.
And same situation like with this one over here. This one over here as well. This one's above it. So if you were to take that right there, you just got to be really quick with it. As soon as it pushes up, you just watch it. I remember this one. This one was kind of slow. It pushed up a little bit, and then as soon as it went up like that, we closed out in profit.
So on the 1 and the 3 minute, we only doing these because we got to confirm the valid K2 momentum signal. So we only doing these after we see a signal print.
Exactly. That's pretty much what you're waiting for. You're waiting for the signal to give you that confirmation.
Sure, the momentum.
Exactly, because you just want to catch momentum. Like a lot of people want to overcomplicate trading and be like, oh, you got to follow a trend, you got to do all this stuff, and then in reality, it's like price goes up or down. It's like you just got to figure out where momentum's going. Especially if you're scalping, you don't have to know all that extra stuff. Like people want to use Fibonacci on the 1 minute, and stuff like that doesn't really apply all the time. Especially if it's moving really fast, it's like you don't really got to do all that. You just got to wait to see where momentum's going, and then you got to catch it as it goes.
And then for I know you said that you mark up the pairs on the 4-hour time frame and you do the indices on the 1 hour. So what strategy are you using when you're doing the indices on the 1 hour?
I've never done indices on 1 hour. Which one are you talking about? I'm trying to figure out what you're referring to because I never trade anything on higher than a 10 minute for indices unless you got a huge account, because if you're trading indices on the 1 hour, you're going for some really big moves.
No, I thought I remember you saying that you did the pairs on the 4 and then the indices on the 1 hour. Or what is it that you do on the 1 hour?
I don't do anything on the 1 hour. Well, if you're just looking for analysis, if you're looking for an intraday analysis, like if you're looking at where it's going to go like days from now, then yeah, we'll go on the 1 hour and analyze it on there. But I don't actually trade on the 1 hour. It's just me analyzing charts. Because the thing is, if you're trading here on the 1 hour, like these candles move a lot, right? Like this is like a 20,000 pip move. Unless you got a really huge account, you're not going to be able to survive a 20,000 pip move.
Right.
So I wouldn't necessarily trade on the 1 hour. I mean, you can if you wanted to, but you got to have like a really big account to handle a move like that.
Right.
So,
but for the pairs, you marking the zones on the 4 hour, and then you just setting them after you see the rejection off. You following the momentum signal, and
so for Forex, I use the K2SR strategy. That one's totally different. So I don't know if you wanted to cover that, because these are all different strategies. They're like, you can't intertwine them. Like the snipe strategy, this isn't going to be the same as the pivot strategy, right? They're completely different. Same with Forex. We're using the K2SR strategy, but that's a totally different strategy as well. If you want me to go over that, we can go over that too if you want.
Yeah. Can we go over that one, please?
Yeah, sure. So what's a Forex pair that you like to trade?
GU.
Okay, let's go to GU real quick. Yeah, because a lot of people do get confused with this, but they're like totally different. So you just got to make sure that you keep them separate. Like when I'm analyzing a pair, I think that's where you got kind of confused with, because there's no strategy that I apply on the 1 hour. It's just that I analyze the charts, because a lot of people want to see what's going on, a day from now, 2 days from now, a week from now. But that's not how we trade indices. We trade indices when we scalp. So those whole movements a day or 2 days from now really don't matter to us, because we just want to know what's happening within the next, hour, the next 10 minutes from now, because that's when we're scalping. So I think that's probably where the confusion came up. But we don't have a strategy that we necessarily use on the 1 hour. I mean, you can use different strategies on the 1 hour. It's just there's nothing that I personally use for that, because I don't trade on the 1 hour for indices.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, we'll go to G real quick. So this is going to be the K2SR zone strategy on the 4 hour time frame. So first, you want to confirm break and close past K2SR zone. 2, confirm direction of momentum using the K2 momentum indicator. And then lastly, just enter on the open of the following candle to next zone. So that's pretty much it for this strategy. So the first thing you want to do is identify the zones. So you'll turn on the K2SR indicator right here. You'll draw your zones from this point. So this will probably just be one big zone since they overlap. We got one right here. We got one right over here. There. There. And right there. Once you have those zones drawn up, you can turn that off. And the reason we're drawing these zones is to identify market structure. So once you have that drawn up right there, you can start to identify market structure. Do you know how to identify market structure, or is this still like new to you?
No, I know how to identify it. I know how to tell when it changed and all of that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So like, if you wanted to chop it up, you could, because you can see that price goes from this area right here to this area, like down here. So like if you were to just focus in this area right here, you can like delete these zones right here. And you got perfect market structure from, from February 25th all the way up until March 22nd. You can see prices just bouncing around this area. So this is how you identify market structure. Obviously, you want to go to where price currently is. So looking at this right here, this would be where market structure started for GU over here. So this would be, the main focus if you're trading from, I guess, April 20th up until now, which would be, I think April 20th was that Sunday?
2 days ago.
2 days ago, yeah. So you could probably, if you wanted to identify this as market structure, you could do this, or you can even put it back here. Actually, this is probably the better area, because you can see price. If you deleted this right here, you can see price was just bouncing from here down back to here.
Right.
So this market structure actually started on April 18th. That would probably be about, I think, Friday. No, probably Sunday. Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
This is Sunday. So market opened here on Sunday, came up, rejected off this point, came down. So, applying the strategy here, first you want to confirm a break and close path structure, right? So right here, if I just zoom into this area right here, you can see that. So if I just replay this, or we'll do it from right here first. So this is gonna be the first one. So I'll just go back and I'll show you like where these examples came up from. So like for example, right here, you want to confirm a break and close past the K2SR zone. So right here, you got price breaking, closing past this K2SR zone right here. So that's gonna be requirement number one. Requirement number two, you want to confirm the direction of momentum using the K2 momentum indicator. So for that same candle right there, we have price breaking, closing, past the structure, and it's also the sell signal. So that's going to be requirement 1 and 2. So with that said, you enter on the open of the falling candle right here for a short position, and then you ride it to the next zone down here for about this is like 51 pips. I'll probably just round it up a little bit to like maybe 50, just to because you don't want it right exactly to the zone, because price sometimes doesn't get like past it, and you want to make sure to factor in the spread. So the spread for GU is going to be it's about two pips right there. So if you pull this down right here, you can see that 2 pips is probably to the actual zone. So in order to get that, you just want to keep it
up a little bit,
yeah, just in case, to be safe. So looking at this right here, if you were to let this trade right here run, right there, straight to full TP. Mm-hmm. And then same situation right here. If you wanted to take this trade right here, it's the same exact situation. You want to confirm a break and close past the K2SR zone. So right here, price breaks and close past it. Second, you want to confirm the direction of momentum. Right here, we got a sell signal, so we're looking for a sell. And then you would take this for a short right there for a little move up to this next zone right here, which would be about 20 pips. So if you were to take that trade right there for 20 pips, and then you let that run, there you go, full TP again right there. So it's as easy as that. And if you wanted to take it the other way, I'll also delete this right here. Same thing if you're looking for a buy, it's pretty much same setup, just opposite direction, right? So like right here, same thing. You confirm a break and close past the structure. You confirm the direction of momentum. Right here, we got a buy signal. So you take that right there, you enter a long position, and then you ride that to the next zone. Yeah, so it's about 55 pips. We'll just round that down to 50. I like to use whole numbers. I mean, you don't need to do that, but for me, it's been working. I mean, this is how we have such a high win rate for our Forex, because, I use the same process every time. I keep it simple. I don't want to use like a 50.3, TP.
Right.
There's really no point. What's that 0.3 pips going to do for you? And sometimes if you get greedy and you try to go for that full move, sometimes it'll get to that, like exactly to that price, and then it'll reverse on you. So like for me, it's like I'd rather round down closer to the the whole number than try to shoot for an extra 0.5 pips, which can be the difference between winning and losing a trade.
Right.
So if you took this trade right here, you let that run, and there you go, full TP again. So 3 back-to-back TPs there. If you're applying the strategy for GU since April 18th, well, if you took every trade here from this entire week, so April 18th was Sunday. If you took this trade right here, you hit that full TP. Again, right here, another entry when it came back down. This would be on the 20th. If you took that trade, another full TP right there. Again, today, if you took this trade over here, where price broke below it, this was the 21st. Well, that was yesterday, actually. If you took that, another full TP right there. So it's pretty simple. It's really just following directions. Okay. And it's on the 4-hour time frame, so it's really simple. Like the 4-hour candle closes at the same time every day. So like if you find it, an entry, it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This right here be real simple because it's on the 4-hour, and you got your zones and stuff already marked up. You can see when it hit it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why for this is what I call for the signals, because it's on the 4-hour, it's easier for people to catch. The difference with the scalps is, they move way too fast. By the time I post up that signal, we're going to be out in profit. Right. And I don't want to post a signal and someone takes it like an hour later and they get mad, like, oh, why'd you post a signal if it already ended? And I'm like, that's why we can't call scalps, right?
And you can set dependent orders on here too.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to enter late, like say for example here, like you can see for this next candle right here, it kind of came up, right? Like you can see the wick above it.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with this candle right here is you could have entered this late if you really wanted to. Like if we go down to the, let me just go back to here. So if you wanted to go down, like to say the 30-minute, or we were just, we're watching it to see how it moved. So looking at this right here, you can see that price actually comes up in drawdown, right? So if you wanted to put a sell stop right there to catch it late, you still could have caught it right there as it came back down and caught that to the TP.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I use this for Forex because it's easier to catch if people want to enter late. The only problem with applying this now is that the market just isn't moving as fast as it did last year. So it's kind of harder to find these entries. You kind of have to be paying attention all the time and
Mm-hmm.
be anticipating the trade. So like usually, like I know when the 4 hour candle closes, it closes at 2 p.m., 6 p.m., and then 10 p.m. My time. So right now it's 5 o'clock, probably around 5:30. I'll go down my watch list right here. I'll see if there's anything for us to take. If I see something, I'll just mark it with a highlighter and I'll come back to it later. Like for example, right here for OddCAD, right? We got price breaking right here, but we still got an hour left on this candle. So I'm gonna mark it up so that when the candle does close in an hour, I can come check it out. And if it's good, then I'll take it. If not, then I'll just wait for the next one. And I pretty much just go down the list right here and then I mark everything up just to see if there's something that's coming up for me to look out for. Because we got a lot of pairs here, but as long as you mark them up and you know what to look out for, it's not really that difficult for you to just go back and check on it when it's time.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not that difficult. You understand the strategy. There's not really much to it. It's really just following directions and being patient for the good entries. All right, cool. So is there anything else you want to cover, or is that the only strategy that you want to look at?
Nope. I think that's it. You haven't went over with us on the 1 minute opening. We're still waiting to get that from you.
Yeah, that's not ready yet. We're still playing with that right now. I mean, it's been working, but it's not there. Like it's something that we just thought of recently. Something that Kyle thought of. It was Kyle, Billy, and Joey, three of the guys in the group. They were applying it for like the past. I think they've been using it for like I think 40 days now, and they made like crazy profits. They've only had like two losing days. So I started testing it this week. This week has been flawless. I've been winning every day this week as well. So once we get that figured out, I'm probably not going to teach it to everybody. It's only going to be taught to people who actually know like the basic strategies because it's a little more difficult. You kind of have to know how to read the charts. Not really read the charts, but you got to be able to read the candles to see where it's going. Because
right, yeah, because I know like a couple of times you had you were saying like you should have waited a couple of more candles so you could have got a better entry.
Exactly, yeah, and that's why it's not ready to be taught yet because we're still playing with it. It's still a work in progress. That one, it requires some skill. I mean, not a lot of skill, but it requires like people to actually understand what's moving, like what's going on with the moves. So I've been going over it every day this week. So if you want to go back and just watch the morning sessions, like right at the open, like at 6:30, like right when you start, you can see me apply the strategy. It's just it changes every day. So I mean, it doesn't change that much, but it changes what I'm looking for because mostly we use the pivots to identify the trend, and then we use the momentum signal to identify which direction we're trading in. So basically, we're just waiting for the market to open. We see price go in one direction, and then we just ride that little wave for the first minute or two to lock in some profit. But it's been working pretty good. But once I'm like done and I get everything set up, then I'll probably teach it to you guys because I haven't even really taught the 3 minute strategy or the other 1 minute strategy either. Like you're probably the first person that I actually broke it down for because that's still a work in progress as well. Like they're not official strategies yet, but it's what we've been applying in the mornings because they've been working.
Right.
But yeah, obviously I want to make sure it's 100% before I teach you guys so that you guys don't make any mistakes.
Okay. Yeah, I've been on there. I just like this morning I jumped on a few minutes late. You guys were already in it. I knew that you were using the momentum. It was the opening. It's like as soon as it opened.
Yeah.
And you were using the momentum. And I'll go back and watch a video and look at my charts too and try to figure out what that is with the pivots.
Yeah, exactly. I can show you. I'll show you like one example, the one from today, because it's really not that difficult. Let me show you real quick. So we'll go back to 6:30. So like right here. Um, yeah. So this is
It
6:30.
was a big move too.
Exactly. Yeah. So right here, the market open. This is the first candle. So there's a couple confirmations that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the momentum signal. So right here, I know momentum's coming down. Number two, I know price is below the pivot, so it's indicating that we're probably looking for some sells because it's in a downtrend, a temporary downtrend, not an overall one, but for the 1 minute, it's in a downtrend. So like right here, once this closes right here, sometimes like one of two things can happen: price will just retrace up a little bit, or it'll just keep dropping. So usually, if price drops like this, it usually keeps dropping for like the next couple minutes, like maybe the next minute or two. So right here, I would probably enter a short position. This is still something that we're working on, TP stop loss. I just have a safety net. It's the same way that I trade the other 1 minute. I don't set a TP stop loss. I kind of just I just set it up on the chart like that. And then,
Okay, so you're doing 50-50 for this.
sort of like, yeah, it's 50-50, but I'm not really going for the whole 50-50. Like what I'm doing
Just
is
kind of watching it and,
Mhm.
and waiting to see when to get out. Look, paying attention to the candles. Got you.
Yeah. So like usually when it reaches halfway, like right here, 25, that's when I start to move that's when you're supposed to move your stop loss and profit. So like right
Right.
here, like, with the same exit strategy that we've been applying, like when price
Yep.
reaches halfway, you're supposed to move your stop loss to that point to, to keep your trade from going to the negative. So like, for example, here, I would enter the sell and then I was already in the sell right here. I actually entered late because it was coming down and I actually entered like somewhere around here in the middle. So I entered kind of late, but it was fine because I wrote it down here. And then as price continued to drop further, I just kept holding on to it because it never came back
Okay.
up. So when price dropped down here, technically you're supposed to move your stop loss to 25 right here. So what I do is I just wait for it. If it comes up right here, like say if it swings back up right here, then I just automatically close it because I don't have time to put in that stop loss. So whenever it moves up there, I'm
Right.
watching it and I will just close it. If not, I just wait for it to come down here and then I wait for it. I do the same thing. So I wait for it to keep dropping. If it doesn't keep dropping and it comes back to the 50 right here, I just close it on profit. And that's pretty much how I locked in. How much did I lock in today for that one?
I don't know, but I know you locked in enough to where you could have stopped trading as
For the
soon
rest
as
of the day.
market opened this morning. So I really appreciate you, giving us your time every single day. Because I
Yeah,
thought about
exactly.
that this morning. When we had the trolls on, I was like, you know what? Shawn made enough money to like stop today if he really wanted to. You know what I'm saying? But you wanted to stay on and make sure that we made some money. And I really appreciate you for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, like my whole goal here, like, I remind you guys every day, it's really to help you guys out because like literally anyone can hop on those YouTube lives and they can just copy the trades if they want. But yeah, this morning I locked in I locked in a lot. I locked in almost 3,000 for that one trade right there. Just that.
Yeah.
And at that point I could have just stopped. Like I even thought to myself, like, should I just stop? But I was like, no, I'm gonna keep going. And it was cool. I'm glad I didn't stop because I would have missed out on all these other profits right here. I pretty much doubled up from that point. So I think today,
Right.
if you add all these up, it's a little over 7,000. So it's pretty good for one morning. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we've been applying for this right here. I'm gonna keep testing it out, and then as it continues to get better and better, we're gonna make adjustments and so on. But I think it's fine as it is now. It's just we gotta figure out if this is like short term, if this is normally how it moves, because I've never done this before in the past. So I just got to see how it works.
Okay, and again, that's pivots 3 and 4, right? On that 1 minute chart.
Yep, exactly. I mean, you can put when I do that, I usually put all the pivots because they kind of help sometimes. Like you can kind of see the rejection points and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's really up to your own preference. If you just want 3 and 4, 3 and 4 is all you really need to show you the trend. 1 and 2 is basically to show you the rejection points, because those are the ones that get tapped a lot. But in reality, you don't really need them all, especially if you're just going for momentum moves. So like, yeah, if you're just doing that, I mean, you should be perfectly fine just using this for that entry right there. All right, so let's see. Is there anything else you want to cover, or is this
that's really all I needed? You go over all the other strategies in all the other videos. So I mean, I pretty much got those. I just wanted some one-on-one time with these new strategies that we got because they work so well. That's what I want to use for this challenge. So
Oh
I just
yeah, no,
want to
definitely.
get it. I just want to perfect them. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you should be good. I think scalping you should be fine as long as you're using proper, proper risk management, not going too heavy on lot sizes. I think you should be pretty solid overall.
When do you move to point oh 0.02 on US 30? How big your account gonna be?
um, let's see. So I think it would depend because the thing with the scalps is that it's a little different because before we were going for like the 1500 pips, for the daily entry.
Right, right.
So you're risking a lot more money doing that. For these scalps, our stop loss is like 500 pips, and then if you're doing the 1 minute, it's only like 200 to 250 pips. So it's a big difference. You could probably go heavier lot size for those, but it's really going to vary depending on what you're trading. If you're just doing scalps, then we could do this for example. Let's see. So how let me. You want to take a 20 lot, right? Or you said how many lots did you say?
No, I was saying when can you move up from like a 0.01 to a 0.02?
So are you talking like Hugo's way?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so for Hugo's way, if you're doing something like that, it's going to be like 20 cents per pip. So if you're doing that, and then you're going for the 10-minute scalp, you're risking $100. So
That's
if
fine.
you
Oh,
so
okay.
if you want to do a 0.2, you probably would need like $1,000 account to do that for 500. If you're going for a smaller stop loss, like say 0.2 times 200 or 250 stop loss, you're only risking $50. You could probably go a higher lot size, maybe a 0.03, 0.04. It's just going to depend on what type of trade you're running, and
Which one of
also
these strategies you using?
exactly, yeah, exactly. It depends on the strategy, and it also depends on what broker. Because on FTMO it's a little different. It's you move the zero over, so a 0.02 is actually a 0.20, 0.20 on FTMO. So that's something to keep in mind too, because since you're doing FTMO, the pricing is going to be a little different, or the
Okay,
lot
yeah.
size.
Can you tell me that, say that again?
So you just add a zero to it. So you know how you're trading a 0.01 on Hugo's way?
Uh-huh.
You would just add a zero to it. So instead of a 0.01, you'd be using a 0.10 because they use mini lots. So like y'all put it right here. So let's see, Hugo's way, a 0.01 equals FTMO 0.10. So you just move the decimal over by one, really, because
Oh, okay.
Hugo's way uses standard lots. FTMO uses mini lots. So you just move that decimal over by one.
Okay. So whatever it would be for Hugo is just one decimal to the right for the
Or to the
FT.
left. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Ooh, I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah, it's not that difficult. I mean, and then it depends on like what account size you're doing, because it's going to vary by account size too. So depending on, if you're using it like me, I'm using the 200K, so I can trade like a 10 lot, because that'll be equivalent to like a one lot on Hugo's way. But if you're trading something smaller, obviously your lot size is going to be a bit smaller than that. Like
Okay.
you'll just divide it by one. Like say for example, for me, I'm doing like a 10 lot, right? So I'm doing a 10 lot because I'm doing a 200K. If you're doing a 100K, you divide that by two. You'll be using a 5 lot. If you're doing a 50K, divide that by two, using a 2.5 lot. If you're doing a 25K, divide that by two, you're using a 1.25 lot, right? So you're just, that's how you would base it off. You just divide it by half to get to that specific account size that you're doing.
So you divide the challenge by two.
Well, it depends. Like for me, I'm doing a 200K. So like if you look at all my trades here, you guys can see what lot sizes I'm using, right? So just using common sense. Like if I'm using 200K and I'm doing 10 lot, if you're doing 100K, you're gonna do half of what I'm doing.
Right.
That'd be a 5 lot. And then if you're doing a 50K, you divide that by two, that'll be a 2.5 lot. So you're just dividing it by two,
Gotcha.
depending on what you're. But once you get like the details for that, you can just ask me, and I'll let you know. It's not that difficult to figure out.
Okay, cool.
All right. So is there anything else you want to cover? Or we
I think that's it.
Cool. All right. So are you gonna?
That's it. Oh, I got one more question.
Oh
Remember,
yeah.
okay, so down on our trading view, you had me pressing auto. What does that do? Like just down on the right hand
This
side?
right here? Yeah. So like, say if your screen's all messed up like this,
Mhm.
If you want your screen to go back to normal size, you just click on auto and it just automatically puts it back. When you click auto, it puts all the candles on the chart. So like say for example here, if you're too close, like say you're too close right here, right? And you kind of want to have it zoomed out enough where you can see like what's going on.
Just hit the
You
auto.
just auto and it'll just smoothen it out. Because it'll fit. So this is what happens. When you hit auto, you see how the candles automatically adjust as you go sideways, so it fits everything on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
If you turn off auto, it's not going to adjust. You'll move to the side and your candles will disappear.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Sometimes when you be on in the morning, are you inverting your charts sometimes?
What do you mean by that?
Like how you can invert them and flip them upside down?
I know. I don't even know. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I seen somebody do that before, and I don't know if it's just you flicking so fast because you keep the different tabs open. So you just go to the tab and it just changed, but it kind of be looking like the chart be getting inverted sometimes.
Yeah, well, the way that I do it is I have the 3-minute charts right here. So that's why it looks a little different. Because I'll go from the 10-minute and I'll go from the 10-minute to the 3-minute. And then from the 3-minute, I'll go to the 1-minute. So that's why mine's look a little different. I don't really use that inverted thing. I think what you might be thinking about is CT. CT he uses different indicators. Let me see if I can find what he posted. Over here. I know CT posted one of his charts today. I'm trying to figure out where he posted it though. Because I don't know if you're talking about my chart or someone else's. Oh, like CT, his looks a little different. I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to.
No, I seen that in the chat earlier
Yeah,
today. No, this is
yeah.
something where actually somebody this it's been a while ago, like showed like I was on like a session or something and they showed us how they inverted the chart because they were saying like some people, pick up on sales better supposed to some people picking up on buys. It depends on like how your brain is wired. And so that they showed us how to like flip the chart. You can like invert it and like flip it upside down.
There's probably an indicator for it, but I've never seen it myself.
I just thought, I don't know, like in the morning sometimes when you be flipping back and forth, it be looking like it'll be the same chart because we stay on US 30. It be looking like it's inverted. So I thought that you were using it. That's why I asked.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, I've never seen that before. I think I know what you're talking about though. It's
So it'd be like this same chart, it just be flipped.
the opposite.
Yep, it'll be flipped upside down. So like how we see the buys going up now,
Yeah,
we would see they would be down and the sales would be the opposite way.
gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I've never done that before. I mean, you probably do that. There's probably ways to to do it on here. I just don't know how to do it myself. And
I just thought it was
yeah.
something that you would use. So how do you put the like these different tabs on your trading view? Like
So
how do we get all those tabs up there to where
all
we're
you
not using breaking up that the picture where you can like separate it into a couple of different ones?
Yeah, if you want separate tabs, you just click on this right here, this little drop down, and then you'll click new chart layout. When you click on that, it'll create a new tab for you.
Oh wow, did not know that.
Yeah, that's why I keep separate ones up here because it's easier. I know some people use the multiple charts where they have like multiple screens, but it's
Yeah.
just there's not enough space on your screen to like look at everything, and sometimes the problem that I don't like about that is you'll have like say you have like 4 charts, right? You don't know if you're
Uh-huh.
like sometimes you might be accidentally clicking on this and you click
Right.
full
That's
size.
why I don't like using it. Every morning I watch you, I'm like, man, how's he getting all them tabs on there?
Yeah, it makes it a whole lot easier. I used to do that before too until I figured this out, the tabs, and I was like, this makes things way easier because you don't got to go and mess things up. Like when people ask me questions during the live and they ask me to analyze something that I've never even seen before, like, I have a testing tab right here just for that. So I don't go mess with my own charts. Um, and it helps a lot. It helps a lot with staying organized so that you're able to catch moves when they happen.
And when you do that, how you get the testing tab?
Oh, that's just what I call it. You could
Oh,
just
you just
yeah.
named it that. Got you.
Yeah, because you'll create a new tab and then you'll just click rename and then you can just name it. Like for here, I have, US 31-minute scalp. And this reminds me that I'm on the proper chart, right? Because sometimes I'll be moving around like, oh, what is this 3-minute? All right, well, I got 3-minute right there. This
Right.
is like the 10-minute US 30 daily. This is like so I don't mess with it because I don't want to
Okay,
miss.
got you. I got it. Okay, and yeah, that'll make it a lot easier too, like how we be looking on the 1, the 3, and the 10 to see, for entry on either one, and you can have all of them up there and just click
Exactly.
on the tab.
Exactly. Yeah, because you don't want to mess with your chart once you got it drawn up. Like once you have something drawn up for something specific, you don't want to be messing around and then getting it mixed up with others.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Shawn, I really, really appreciate your time. I'm about to put all of this into play. I have been using, trading with you in the mornings. And then sometimes I never get up for the London session, but sometimes for the Asian session, I might trade and, try to apply some of the strategies. But like, I'm ready to stop working. Like, so I'm about to do the FTMO. How do they, so the FTMO, once you actually pass it and they give it to you, like, do they just pay you out like weekly or?
It's every month. So when you get your funded account, it'll be a month from that date. So a month from that date, they'll send you an email like, "Hey, Andrea, how do you want to be paid?" Or like, what's your payout like? And then on the FTMO website, there'll be a payout like section there where you can put how much money you want to be paid out. Because you can leave money in the account if you want some cushion for the following month, or you can just take the payout. It's really up to you what you want to do. I usually keep a cushion in there because I don't really need, I don't want to like risk losing my account.
Right.
So I usually keep some like money in there just for save for a rainy day basically. If I ever have like if I have like a bad week, but that usually doesn't happen. If I have a bad trading day, like I'm pretty disciplined where I'll just stop. Uh, but even bad trading days doesn't usually happen with this. It happens very rarely. So
Right.
that's how you'll have your option, and then they'll pay you through. There's different options. You can get a bank wire. You can get Skrill. I do it through Skrill because when I first did FTMO, I didn't really trust them, so I don't want to give my bank info. But
Right.
I did it through Skrill, which is like the international PayPal. But you can do a bank wire if you want. They're legit. Like I get paid out by them every month, and it's solid. Like there's no issue with payment. I've never had a problem with payment, and they're on time. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, either one you want to do. But yeah, if you don't want to give out your bank info, I would just give them Skrill. It's the same thing. It's just like it's like PayPal, but it's a international version.
Okay, cool. All right.
All right.
Well, Shawn, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, man.
Definitely, no problem. I'm excited for you to do FTMO. I'm ready to get you funded so you can be you can be locking in those big profits like everyone else.
Yes, I'm going to I'm gonna be working on applying these strategies. Now I'm gonna do the trial challenge, and then I'm gonna drill down and really, get into it. I'm getting ready to go to Miami for Mother's Day. So when I get back from that, that's when I'll be looking to go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Just take your time. There's no rush. Your main goal when you start the challenge is to pass. That's the main goal. You don't want to make those big profits just yet. You just want to pass, get funded. Once you're funded, you can do whatever you want from there. But yeah, I think you should be good. Just stay consistent, start practicing, and you should be good. I mean, if you have any other questions, you know where to find me. But other than that, I think you should be good for the most part.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Shawn. Thank you so much.
Definitely, Andrea. It was good talking to you, and I guess I'll catch you in the chat.
All right. I'll see you in the morning.
All right, see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks.